Some big news in the world right now. In case you've been living under a rock, basically the world is shutting itself down because of the whatever it's called, the coronavirus, COVID-19. What do I mean by that? The NBA has suspended the remainder of its season schedule. The NCAA has decided that it's going to cancel, or not really cancel, but might as well cancel, the remainder of March Madness. That it'll play some of the games in front of empty stadiums, but they're still going to have them, even though basically not really. The NFL has come out in, what do you want to say, approval, affirmation, saying that if conditions haven't improved by the fall, that they are considering canceling or at least doing their events in front of empty stadiums. NASCAR has not said anything. They're just, no, we're going to continue business as usual. But the Bay Area, Santa Clara County, has said that we're canceling everything, practically declaring martial law because of this thing. Cruise line stock has been cut in like thirds as their profits struggle. Disney reported its first employee case last week. Amazon reported its first employee case last week, or the week before. Basically, world is in a panic. People are binge purchasing toilet paper, bottled water for some absurd reason. You can't buy hand sanitizer at CVS currently. The world is panicking, or at least middle class America is panicking, I guess you could say, at the very least, in the only way that they know how: buying Charmin Quilted Northern. And we were talking about this today. I am now officially certified to give people STD tests because of a organization that I volunteer with, and we were talking about it, and just simply, it's just, from what I can tell, it's simply this: people want to be scared. It's not that there is definitely a real reason to be afraid. It's that simply this is the latest excuse to justify consumer panic. So what am I saying? See, if you are close to anyone that actually works in medical field, if you're close to anyone, like maybe you work with a nurse, or you are like someone in your family is in medical or something, they'll tell you that this is not a big deal. That it's a mild infection, that you might get a little bit of sniffles, a little bit of a fever, drink warm fluids, have some soup, and you'll be fine if you feel it. Occasionally, if you are immunocompromised, or if you are already suffering from a or like a foreknown condition, or you are whatever, you're going through something that makes you vulnerable to other things, like, for instance, you're just elderly. Older people have more difficulty fighting off infections. If you're extremely young, because they have fewer antibodies to be able to fight off infections. If you are going through cancer or other forms of treatment like that, you have HIV maybe, that make you predisposed to a limited or reduced immunoresponse, then you should be concerned. But only those conditions, and that's not that many people compared to all, like, the um, the minivan driving moms that were punching each other in order to get toilet paper last week. It's not affecting them, and it's not affecting anyone that they know, with unless of course they chose not to vaccinate their kids. But anyway, schools are shutting down as well. If you didn't know that, places that haven't even confirmed an outbreak are just like, oh no, we need to panic. Simple fact is, people are afraid because they want to, and in a lot of ways, they just, for some reason, trust the media, despite the fact that we all know the media is not reliable in these instances. Everything is a absolute end of the world crisis if you're the media. They will pull stuff out of their rears in order to make it sound scary so that they can sell ad time. Simple. It's not that big of a deal, but people are afraid anyways. And in some ways you could say, well, because this is regarding safety, maybe it's okay to err on the side of caution with it. Well, the main thing I'd have to say about that is committing an error on the side of caution is still committing an error. It's not doing the right thing, it's doing the wrong thing, but feeling morally superior about it. So, the thing is, when this life is all you have, you will go to absurd lengths to protect it. You will do irrational things in order to preserve it. But if you have hope beyond this life, then even in the event that this life doesn't give you what you feel like you deserve or what you wanted, you're still going to be okay. Because that's one of the reasons why the hope of eternity, the hope of heaven, is so important for Christianity, and the reason why it's so important and pertinent to situations like these. See, we live in a society that is so insulated from suffering and death that when sniffles, mild fever come along, and we're shutting down the NBA, we are closing airports, we are sending kids home from school, like all those things that we say are so important, money and education and all that stuff that is so supposedly just vital for our existence, we're willing to just scrape right off the slate and forget about in order to be safe. See, you go back 200 years from now, go back 200 years into the past, and societies where they wouldn't even name their children until their first birthday because they didn't want to get attached to something that could die so easily. Things like infant death and failure to thrive were just common. Women dying in childbirth was commonplace and expected, and just so many things that we don't even recognize how good we have it. So, simple, this is kind of what I'm boiling everything down to. Coronavirus, just wash your hands, people. 20 seconds, you can do a happy birthday, ABC song, Jesus loves me, this I know. There's so many, the Team Rocket thing, there's so many little mnemonics to help you remember. It needs to be at least 20 seconds, no longer than a minute, because after that you're wasting time. And keep your hands away from your eyes, your nose, your face, and use hand sanitizer whenever you can, but not too terribly much because you don't want to create superbugs. And just, if you feel sick, stay home, drink warm fluids, have some soup, you'll be fine. You're not in danger. For most of you, 99% of you, you're not in danger. People are more afraid of the discomfort of feeling sick, it seems, than they are actually afraid of being sick. And they're especially not as afraid of it as they are of being without comfort items like toilet paper and bottled water. That's what they're really afraid of. They're afraid of living in comfort, or living out of comfort, more so than they are afraid of actual life-threatening circumstances.